Hello, everyone. I am Doug Bletcher, the host of the Autism Stories podcast. I believe that our healthcare system can be more accessible, but don't take my word for it. I've had several autistic doctors on our podcast to discuss what they're doing to make healthcare more inclusive for the autistic community. So here are highlights from what so many of our wonderful doctors have said.
I think the medical community needs to get a lot better at sorting difference from distress and disorder. And we have to stop pathologizing difference. And I'll talk about stimming with physicians. If someone is stimming by hand flapping or shaking, they're not causing any harm to themselves or to someone else. They are expressing or regulating, this is a difference we should be accepting. If someone is stimming by headbanging, that's a sign of distress. That's a sign of probably either pain or anxiety. There's something going on there that we need to figure out and help that person. If someone is truly in a state of burnout, having to make a phone call to make an appointment, to drive or sit on the bus, to wait in the loud, noisy waiting room, all of those things are going to take a real toll. That I find it's a lot easier to really get to the heart of what's going on and connect with people when they're in the comfort of their own home.
One thing I keep banging on about is a separate waiting area because, the waiting room can be the most overwhelming place when you're already stressed, trying to wait to see your GP. Just have a quiet room with some sensory stuff in it. It doesn't have to be anything too fancy. In fact, actually, the plainer and more boring the room, the better. The less sensory stimulation there'll be. If you make an environment that's autism friendly, everybody benefits. Nobody's going to lose out from it. Just thinking about that, just understanding that there may be hypo or hypersensitivity, so pain can be a difficult thing to quantify anyway, and there's good evidence to say that the way doctors describe pain is not the way that patients describe pain. Trying to rate your pain out of 10, trying to describe pain, people aren't very good at that across the board. We sometimes need to modify our language in that, and to understand that an autistic individual may not display the same cues that you would expect from a neurotypical individual. When they're in pain, when they're in discomfort, they may have something really quite serious going on, but look absolutely fine.
So one is, have you ever tried to get to your doctor and the doctor says, well, I don't have an appointment for you for a couple of weeks? Have you tried to call your doctor in the middle of the night? And of course, it's after hours, you're going to get the on-call system. You might get your doctor, but you might not get your doctor's partner or one of 10 doctors in the practice or 15 doctors in the practice. Doctors off regular hours can cover for each other, but often sometimes what may happen is if that doctor doesn't know you as well, there may be some things that you could have treated a little more easily if it was the doctor that did know you. Instead of taking care of a patient panel of thousands, we take care of hundreds. And that allows us to have higher accessibility. You call your doctor, you're going to get in with them very quickly. You're going to call your doctor and your doctor's actually going to call you back in a timely manner. You call after hours. I'm not taking calls every single day, 365 days of the year, but I take the majority of my patient calls after hours. I don't get a lot of them, but at least when someone does call, they know it's the doc that knows them well. So the foundation is really a very, very personal type of care where we're really strengthening that doctor-patient relationship and giving people the time they need to get through the issues that they want to get through. And I love this model, and I'm happy to bring it to the gender-affirming care arm of my primary care practice as well.
Because there are so many people who can't access vaccination because it's simply too stressful. And it's not an optional kind of stress that you can just suck it up and push through. It's not accessible because you don't feel safe. And if you don't feel safe, you can't do the thing. So, for example, if there's a kid who loves dragons, we're going to have, a dragon video playing as they walk in the door and a dragon song playing because it's not distracting them. It's actually giving them dopamine. When your monotropic focus is dragons and the dragons are there, it's actually going to impact your sensory processing. Things are going to hurt less when you have dopamine. Even when I was in general primary care practice, I was spending most of my time helping neurodivergent patients problem solve life outside the exam room. So accessing what they needed in education, accessing employment that met their needs, making friends, all of the things that the healthcare system largely designates as separate from health. And it always just made no sense to me because health is all of these these different things.
Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe to keep learning from Autistic Voices.